Yeah, your story though. When I read your dad waking you up in 3 o'clock in the morning, and working on computers though. That's in Alabama. Were you like where? How old were you when you moved out to the rural area of Alabama and all that?
So it was the halfway through my 11th year. So, but earlier though, I mean, when my dad was waking me up, that was 4, 5, 6 years old. I mean, I've got a 2 year old now, and it's like, or 2.5 year old, and I wonder is he going to get the genes from my dad, or just get the nature of me being woken up? But my dad grew up working for basically what was Bell Labs, so the Apple, the Google of the day kind of thing, and so he didn't sleep very much. He slept about an hour and a half most of his life until his first bout with cancer, and so yeah, he would wake me up for field trips at 3 o'clock in the morning, or take me out of school to let me go into work with him at Bell Labs or Lucent and AT&T, depending on the name the company had at the time.
Right, right. Hey, so you had it sounds like a really interesting relationship with your dad. And how old were you when he got cancer?
Oh, or sorry, college, just into college, so 2021.
Okay. So, well, let's stay. So you get this relationship, this which was your mom. So why the heck you waking up Kurt? 3 o'clock in the morning, or what was going on?
Well, I mean, one, she tended to be asleep at that time. I mean, she knew it happened, but my parents had been married for many years by that point. When they got married, my mom had a son from a previous marriage that my dad adopted, but I was oops, and so my parents were at their early 40s when they had me, and so we all sleep a little more when we get into our 40s, and so mom, those are precious sleep hours for my mom, but she at that point had 20 years with my dad where this man slept an hour and a half or so a night, and so she was very used to this kind of thing of, hey, he was up doing something in all night. He often had two full-time jobs just to keep busy. So
Wow. So that's why you talk about being a hustler, and you're we're a little older than like this modern age of people talk about hustler was a good thing back in the
yeah,
70s and 80s until it became like this because that showed that you really cared about work and you're a go-getter, and that was your dad, and you got that DNA, you got that lifestyle from
I
him.
think I got I think I
So
got
when you
the
start working
hours
on
more from my dad, but I rather than using hustler, I think the term now I probably refer to myself more as a grinder. I grind things out. It's that grunt work that most people don't want to do, but that's how you're successful. But my dad, I think he would do
yeah.
those field trips at 3 o'clock in the morning, or he would pick up a second full time job for years because he was bored. I mean, when you're awake for an extra 6 hours than everybody else in the household, he was kind of bored, and so he that was for him to keep busy. But my mom was a workhorse, and so we had cottages in Michigan, and when we lived in Chicago, anyways. And so yeah, like if there was leaves to be raked, if there was work to be done, like my mom had about a 1 acre garden. And like if there was work to be done, and it was 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night, and I was 7 years old, well, we were planting that garden and we were raking leaves until midnight or 2 a.m. because the work needed to be done. She was North Alabama,
Right.
very rural, grew up, had the story of her and her sisters and brothers. They would walk to school, many miles, and except for when they, it'd be a shortened road when they decided to cut through the field. But sometimes that was a run in case the bull happened to be in that field that time. Like so, that was my mom, where they grew up with you didn't have anything unless you worked for it. So I think I got the hours and the DNA from my dad, but I got the work ethic definitely from my mother.
Either way, the neurological
Yeah.
patterns are being set for you to have like a great worth ethic. So when they get you a computer, you dissect this thing. Well, you were 11
Yeah,
years old when
I
you
was
got
right
your
about. I
first
think I may
computer.
have had one just before then, but I got an Apple II GS when I was 11. So
Okay. And what did you do when you got that? Like what happened? What were some of the
well,
dynamics? What did you
I mean,
start
first of
doing?
all, that was a time when you could buy some computer games, but if you wanted a game, in most cases you coded it. You bought a book and you typed out the code for it. So that's how I taught myself and got myself the games I wanted to play. But my dad had security clearance and was consulting on. He was on one of his retirements, but was consulting on Redstone Arsenal. Department of Defense, Homeland Security installation, Huntsville, Alabama. Marshall Flight Center is there as well, and so I would go on to base with my dad. nobody thinks anything about an 11-year-old kid. And so I'd go on one of their computers, and I got myself access from home. So I got in a little bit of computer trouble, but